guys, welcome back to TFD. Today, we need to talk about Napheesa Collier once again making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Because it looks like things between her and WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert have officially fallen apart. What started as a strong statement calling out league leadership has now spiraled into a full-on standoff, and it's raising a lot of big questions about Collier's motives, professionalism, and her future role within the WNBA Players Association. Let's rewind this just a bit. Earlier this week, Napheesa Collier came out with a pretty fiery statement, one that called for new leadership in the WNBA. She was direct, emotional, and, to be honest, absolutely scorched Cathy Engelbert for what she described as failed leadership when it comes to player safety, league growth, and the physicality of the game. Now, make no mistake, Collier brought up some valid points. The games have been getting rougher, and players across the board have been asking for more consistent officiating and clear accountability at the top. But the issue is, as more details have started coming out, the context around her criticism looks a little complicated. Because remember, Collier isn't just a star player and vice president of the WNBA Players Association. She's also one of the co-founders of Unrivaled, a brand new off-season league she started with Brianna Stewart, a league that by all definitions competes with the WNBA for player attention, sponsorship dollars, and visibility. So when you call for new leadership in your own league while also building another league across town, yeah, people are starting to notice. Now, we can debate all day about whether Unrivaled is truly a competitor, but anyone with even a basic understanding of business knows you can't run two leagues targeting the same player base and sponsors without some conflict. That's just reality. And this is where the heat's really turning up. With the current collective bargaining agreement set to expire, conversations about a potential lockout are already floating around. And guess which league stands to benefit most if that lockout happens? You guessed it, Unrivaled. That's why people are now questioning Collier's attack on Engelbert was motivated by frustration as a player or business strategy as a league owner. Then came the breaking news. Collier reportedly canceled a planned one-on-one meeting with Cathy Engelbert. According to multiple NFL insiders, that meeting was supposed to help patch things up and get player relations back on track. But after Engelbert publicly denied some of the claims Collier made, particularly around comments about Caitlin Clark, Collier decided to pull the plug. To put it simply, she didn't like the commissioner's response and made it personal. That's where this whole situation turns from political to professional. Because if you're an executive in the Players Association, you don't get to walk away from the table out of personal anger. That's not how negotiations work, especially when an upcoming CBA is hanging in the balance. Whether you like the commissioner or not, you've got to sit down, talk things out, and fight for your players. What Collier did instead was let emotion take the wheel, and the optics aren't good. Right now, fans are split right down the middle. Some still support what Collier said about the WNBA needing stronger leadership and better player protection. But a growing majority of fans, even those who aren't on Engelbert's side, are losing patience with her approach. They're seeing someone with real influence acting out of frustration and maybe even self-interest, and that's not sitting well. The conversation has shifted from, is she right about Engelbert, to, can we even trust her? And that's the sad part because Collier has always been respected. A leader, a competitor, one of the league's most dependable veterans. But this public feud with the commissioner is starting to damage her image and credibility. If she really wants to help the players and grow the game, she needs to step back, regroup, and handle things behind closed doors. Not everything requires a public statement or a media burn. At this point, the WNBA doesn't need another feud. It needs leadership, collaboration, and level heads going into negotiations. Because one thing is clear, the league can't afford internal chaos, especially with its most marketable players and executives going at each other's throats mere months before a potential lockout. Let's see fan reaction. Collier should not be in CBA because she owns Unrivaled. It's a conflict. Cathy needs to have deputy handle CBA like MLB does with labor talks. Keeps this from happening. No wonder no one really takes the league seriously. Both turned it into a soap opera. At the end of the day, this whole situation just shows how messy and unprofessional things have gotten. Collier being involved in the CBA while owning Unrivaled is a clear conflict of interest. And Cathy Engelbert letting it slide only makes the league look worse. If the WNBA wants to be taken seriously, it needs structure, transparency, and accountability, not drama. Just like MLB separates labor talks, the WNBA should too. Until then, fans and players are stuck watching a league that feels more like a soap opera than a serious professional organization. So someone tweeted, "These are childish and emotional reactions by Fee, and they show a complete lack of professionalism. This is business, and business is never personal, but she made it such with her accusations. Now she refuses to engage. Not a good look for her. Sorry." And honestly, exactly right. Exactly right. You can't say it better. When you start letting emotions lead your decisions in a professional setting, you've already lost credibility. Collier doesn't want to sit down and have a real conversation because she's personally hurt. But let's be honest here. She also stands to benefit from a lockout, and now everybody sees that clearly. I'll tell you this. There are 3 things that have to happen if the WNBA wants to clean this up and move forward. Number 1, Cathy Engelbert has got to go. It's that simple. Leadership starts at the top, and if the top can't separate business from personal agendas, the whole league suffers. Number 2, Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart need to step down from their union roles immediately. There's no world where 2 players who own another league, Unrivaled, should be negotiating the WNBA's labor terms. That's a blatant conflict of interest. If I'm the NBA owners, I'm telling the Players Association flat out, you remove those 2 or we're not coming back to the table. Non-negotiable. No meetings, no progress, nothing until that's handled. And honestly, the players themselves shouldn't come back to the table either, as long as Engelbert is still sitting in her chair. Everyone involved has lost sight of professionalism. What should have been a structured, mature business discussion has turned into a personal feud full of emotions, accusations, and bad optics. Now it's not about progress or leadership. It's about egos and feelings. And that's a huge problem for a league that's trying to earn respect on a global sports stage. At this point, both sides need to take a step back, get neutral representation, and remember, this isn't personal. It's business. And until they start treating it that way, no one's going to take the WNBA seriously. Shout out my man CDS Sports Podcast. He wrote, "Laugh out loud. You mean her response to Collier's nastiness? Collier should be banned from the WNBA as long as she has an interest in Unrivaled. That would be normal anywhere else but this circus. Can y'all report correctly and not be propagandists for the players? Thanks." Zach said, "Is she gonna step down from the Players Association? She has an obvious conflict of interest." Nah, fuck that narrative. Fee broke the unspoken rule of confidentiality when she repeated a private conversation for national TV. Cathy can be many things fans of basketball don't like, but this breakdown wasn't a result of her essentially calling Fee a liar. It was because she had to make that assertion because of Fee's prior comments. Honestly, the W needs men in charge. The whole HS girl she said shit is killing this league. When media is being sympathetic to a union leader who has a stake in a rival basketball franchise, you know there's a problem. It's a fucking business. Stop making everything personal. Well, there's all kinds of nonsense going on in this league right now. It's ridiculous. You got people in the sports media breaking down every move like it's real journalism, while the president of the Players Association just so happens to be related to one of the analysts talking about it on national TV. Total conflict of interest. This league wants to be taken seriously, but how can it when it's run more like a high school drama club than a professional organization? There need to be boundaries. No more cozy relationships, no more favoritism, no more inside family business playing out on ESPN. And let's be real, if they actually enforced that, half the league would be in trouble. But maybe that's what it needs. You don't see this level of unprofessional chaos in the NBA, NFL, or MLB. Why? Because those leagues handle their business like professionals. This is amateur hour disguised as progress.
Get this egomaniac with conflict of interest out of the negotiation. Adam Silver needs to appoint a pro-Caitlyn commissioner who will reject the lesbo thug play and have the league actually embrace the CC fans, and CC, things could actually happen. Wow. Just wow. That flipped fast. 1 minute, everything's cool, everyone's talking about unity and moving forward, and the next, boom, someone's refusing to meet because of what was said on TV. Like, really? You fired a shot on national television, she fired one back, and now suddenly you're too offended to talk. Come on. Cathy Engelbert was actually willing to sit down after you basically tried to drown her publicly. She was ready to keep it professional, to at least have a grown-up conversation, and now you're backing out. That's a terrible look. It's petty. I thought we were about to see some maturity here. Two leaders sitting down, hashing things out like adults. Nope. Turns out somebody's feelings got bruised, and now we're back to playground politics. That's how you lose people like me off the bandwagon. I was like, okay, progress, finally. But no, here we go again. Drama over dialogue, ego over professionalism. Anyway, that's all I got. Let me know what y'all think down below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.